Located on the Mediterranean coast and benefiting from a climate conducive to agriculture, Lebanon has been a cultural and commercial hub since antiquity.
Land of milk and honey, gateway to the east, it has always attracted conquerors. By its sheltered ports, its wooded mountains, its natural beauty, and above all, as a shelter for the population seeking a home and freedom in the gorges and peaks of its mountains. In 1920, following the liberation of the country by the Allies, it was declared Greater Lebanon. In 1943, its independence was proclaimed.
In 1975, a 15-year-long civil war began. This war, started by the interference of Palestinians and then the Syrians, has left bloody traces of a fratricidal conflict. The fighting has claimed 150,000 victims from all faiths and parties. A fragile peace was established in 1990 with the help of Syria, but at the cost of a painful guardianship which ended with the Cedar Revolution in 2005. From that day until today, the life of the Lebanese has been punctuated by destabilizing events, such as the 33-day war between Hezbollah and Israel, which killed 1,000 people and caused the flight of 1 million refugees. In 2008, a series of large-scale armed clashes pitted Hezbollah against the ruling party and revived the spectre of civil war. In 2011, civil war in Syria pushed 1.2 million refugees to cross the Lebanese border and further complicated community relations. In 2014, the jihadists of Islamic State made their appearance and attacked Lebanon, but they were repelled and overcome in 2017. On October 17, 2019, faced with the failure of their leaders, a series of nationwide protests took place, forcing the government to resign. This disastrous governance led to the collapse of the Lebanese pound in 2020 and the freezing of Lebanese bank accounts. More recently, on the 4th of August 2020 at 5 p.m, the terrible explosion of the port of Beirut occurred, leaving 214 dead, more than 6,500 injured, and making at least 200,000 people homeless.
This explosion came as a shock to all the Lebanese. After all this, Beirut is completely massacred. Beirut is torn apart. Beirut cries. With all the wars that have passed, this is the first time. You see people, this time it was different. It was something we never experienced.
However, the explosion is not yet the last trauma for the Lebanese people. In 2021, Lebanon is sinking into one of the most serious global crises of the past 150 years. The country is on its knees.
How do you handle a situation like this, an economic crisis at this level? How do you deal with a loss of all your money, everything you've worked for years, to put in the bank for years, for the future? How do you deal with the loss of all this now? The loss of people, job loss, really the loss of your life. You've spent a lifetime working to save money for your future. And then all of a sudden, that money no longer exists and you're there without any resources.
So now the people who had money in the bank, they cannot collect their money from the bank because it was given loan to the government, which mismanaged it, or sometimes because of the corruption, they filled their pockets.
We in Lebanon at retirement age have no retirement salary. We don't have help for medicines, and the government doesn't help the elderly. So with the economic crisis and bankruptcy, they no longer have anything. We have a large number of old people. If we don't give them food to eat, they have nothing at home. We're now helping around 750 families in various ways. There are fixed daily meals, there are food boxes, hygiene parcels. Children are hungry, Children are forced to work on the roads, carrying things that are too heavy for them, picking up plastic in the trash. And the Tahaddi Education Centre is made for children who are 7 years and older. Lebanese, Syrians, Lebanese of Dom origin who are too old to find a place in public school. Tahaddi in Arabic means the challenge, but it's a very specific challenge. It's the challenge of poverty, and it's a challenge that we can only meet together. To go against poverty, which is almost a curse on people. Poverty is not something beautiful when it's so intense, and when it prevents young people from being able to dream and imagine a future that meets their dreams. A food package for someone can change lives. It can really change people's lives. We don't just mean big sums, but we think of a small gesture. And that small gesture can really touch people's hearts. It touches hearts, it touches lives. It changes the atmosphere in a house. It gives hope. It gives hope. At least I'm not alone. I'm not here on my own trying to struggle to find a solution.
Everyone in Lebanon dreams of leaving Lebanon. But I have a dream of staying and helping as much as I can.
Today, Lebanon, a country a few hours' flight from home, is going through an unimaginable crisis. As a result of currency devaluation, 80% of families live below the poverty line and have fallen into utter destitution. Lebanon hosts 1,500,000 refugees who live in unbearable conditions. With 50 euros, you can help a family of 4 to cover their food and hygiene needs for a month. All those families who never imagined relying on charity need you today. Your help is invaluable and will bring them a glimmer of hope in the dark times they are going through. Thank you in advance for your generosity. We really need you. Thanks for helping us help them.